I understand. What I'm about to announce to you is not something you like to hear, but permit me to broadcast this information to you. It's breaking, but a lot of people don't even know because of the pattern of the agreement. So let me present to you. Nigeria President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has secured a military agreement with France. Military agreement with France for equipment and training to combat terrorism and insecurity in Nigeria. For equipment and training to combat terrorism and insecurity in Nigeria. Ah, wow. Wow, wow, wow. I'm out of my mind. I need someone to help me. Now, the agreement was reached. Now, I want you to look at how the agreement was reached. Yes, an agreement was reached, but the how is more important than the agreement at this point. Okay? The agreement was reached during a phone call, a country of over 300 million people. So there is someone out there that wanted to reach an agreement, a security agreement, a critical agreement with Nigeria. And guess what? The agreement was reached over the phone. The agreement was reached over the phone between President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and French President Emmanuel Macron on Saturday, March 21st, 2026. President Tinubu announced the deal the following day. That was 22nd. During a meeting with state governors at his residence in Lagos. We are going to get to this detail even properly. I want you to look at how terrible the state of governance in Nigeria is right now. The agreement was reached during a phone call between President Tinubu and French President Emmanuel Macron on Saturday 21st, 2026. Then President Tinubu announced the deal the following day, not through an official source or channel or something. During a meeting with state governors at his residence in Lagos. Before I slept this morning, I was thinking, something came to my mind that what we have in Nigeria is no longer democracy, it's a monarchical system. And Nigerians saw this. I won't blame Tinubu, I blame Nigerians. The Nigerians that voted for Tinubu, you know, and to this day, they are still supporting him blindly. So this is where Nigeria is right now. Now, you can see how bad the state of governance is in Nigeria, where a key agreement is reached over the phone, not through official channels. Then the announcement was not even made on national TV, probably thinking that the citizens of the country would react and respond, in a devastating fashion, probably inform the governors. So there is a political attempt to capture the state of Nigeria by a group of people. And this was very obvious. The reputation of the current president was questionable before he got to power. His educational background was questionable. His financial, you know, um, status was questionable. Everything about this man was questionable. His background was questionable. His origin was questionable. Nobody can tell specifically where he came from in Nigeria. Nothing. You can't find any detail. You don't even know his classmates. Like, I know my classmates. I can mention 10 of my primary school mates. This guy has no primary school mates. None. Not one. Go and find out. Go to the internet. These are things you can actually, you know, this you can actually punch out in the public domain. He doesn't have any primary school mates. Living or gone. So, how do you see this man, given the identity and his reputation, and you go out there and you still voted? They voted. Don't let anybody deceive you that Tinubu coming to power was out of rigging of election, and a large populace still voted for him. And I'm going to tell you why they voted for him. They did not vote because of the credibility. They did not vote because of meritocracy. They voted out of sheer tribalism and the so-called religious bias, Muslim ticket. The people that wanted Nigeria to be an Islamic Republic of Nigeria, they were already propagating this information that, oh, Nigeria will be an Islamic Republic, Muslim is dominant, and all of that. And here we are. At this point, I will say one thing, because I have browsed critically and I've seen that my thinking is far different from the thinking of every Nigerian I've met. I don't think I've not met one Nigerian that thinks like me. I've not seen no one. I've not seen. They are not critical thinkers. And that is why sometimes when I sit down and I hear that Nigerians are intelligent, they're smart, I just ask myself, like, what do you mean by this statement? What do you mean? What do you mean by Nigerians as what do you mean by Nigerians are smart? The only reason why they are protesting right now about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you are seeing a lot of propaganda on social media, is because their current state of living is not comfortable. So let's say they have some comfort. They don't have a problem, even if the country is coming down. There is a build-up to every major disaster. It doesn't just happen. There is a build-up to it. There was a build-up to Tinubu. There was a build-up to this whole thing. Those people, they can hardly think. They most of them look. A majority of Nigerian citizens are not educated. Don't let anybody deceive you. Majority of Nigerians, from that 300 million or thereabout, I can bet it that over 200 of that 300 million are non-educated. You have more non-educated Nigerians than you have educated Nigerians. In my vicinity here, the vicinity where I live here, this is one of the best states in Nigeria. This is Lagos. I'm in Lagos, right? Just want you to know. But you see, in this vicinity where I live, I can hardly bring out two that has master degrees. In this vicinity, we have over 1,000 people around here. Now, among the educated ones in Nigeria, there are some that are religious extremists among the educated ones. Okay. There are some that are religious extremists. So even if they are educated, when that religious extremism comes in, you cannot differentiate the difference between them and the illiterates. One of the biggest problem of Nigeria today is illiteracy. It's not education. You know, education is in learning and in character. Nigeria is a place that is so bad now that a young lady can see an elderly man and, you know, say whatever. The fundamental fibers and silk that build up the country of Nigeria as we speak is rotten. The fabrics of Nigeria is in shambles. This is not even like I can tell you categorically right now that I prefer to be called a Nigerian. I prefer to be called an African, not a Nigerian. because I've never seen people with this type of integrity. Like, let's get integrity out of the window here. And still, you will still see people on the social media that are Nigerian politics, the Nigerian youths, they are controlled by few people, influencers, they are controlled by music artists, they are controlled by, I mean, they are controlled by money. Money controls them. So when you throw money at them, the move in the swing in the direction you want them to go. If you know how disrespectful this deal is, if you know how terrible this deal is, you know, everybody in the Andre community should not be surprised, because I've been telling you for a significant period of time that this is who these people are. And a lot of people will think that I'm just talking, no backup, right? But you can see the backup now. I don't need to tell you. This is say no more, Andre. You can see it for yourself. These are not smart people. They are not revolutionary in their mindsets. They can't see beyond money. They can't. It's a country where they will tell you if you travel out today, your prayers have been answered. So the only thing they want to get in their life is to leave the country because of the despicable situation of the country. And the question is, it is their connivance in all this terrible decision making that has brought Nigeria to this shameful state that it is right now. So when I look at Nigerians, you can hardly, I can guarantee you hardly can find a Nigerian that has deep thinking of manufacturing, production. And when I'm talking about manufacturing, I'm talking about thinking of taking you have less than 5% of Nigeria thinking in that direction. Manufacturing for an industrial export purpose. These are people that think about what to eat in the morning. They think about probably how to drive a car for societal validation. These are people that live their life for propaganda and shenanigan. And please, I don't want anybody to blame France. You see, France capitalized on the blueprint that was already on ground, that to control these countries, to control these people, all you need to do is control the money. You can see that France integrated herself into the financial system of the country by going after the taxation and getting data, critical data of Nigerians. That was the first attempt. Before that attempt, we spoke here categorically and we criticized, the propaganda video that went viral then when Davido, right, traveled to Elysee. And instead of Nigerians to think critical, we were very critical in the Andre community. But the next thing they did was, oh, have your artists, okay? Have your artists. We said it. Do you know how long we've said it? Have your artists ever traveled to Elysee to do this, to do that? Is Wizkid, is he as great as Davido? That is the world they live in. They live in a bubble, a very, very terrible bubble. And gradually, we started hearing JNIM in Nigeria. We have Boko Haram, we have Lakurawa, we have bandits, we have Wulo Wulo. We have so much. We have ISWAP. We have so much groups in this country that you would wonder how some people wake up every day because of how unsafe the country is. And look at where we are right now. So when JNIM got into Nigeria, I knew that the palm wine is already beginning to marinate. Now let me give you the updates carefully. The key details of the military agreement. The agreement focused on strengthening Nigeria's security forces with deployment of French troops. Are you hearing me? Okay, sorry, there's a mistake there. The agreement focused on strengthening Nigeria's security forces without. I want you to. I want to get. I want you to. I want us to look at the calculation here. Agreement focused on strengthening Nigeria's security forces without deployment of French troops. Now, without deployment of French troops, but according to the details, agreement with France for equipment and training on combat personnel, right? To combat terrorism and insecurity in Nigeria. So if you won't be deploying troops to come to Nigeria, how will you be training Nigerian troops? With who? Who are the guys that are going to be training the Nigerian troops? In 2026, Nigerian troops will be trained by France. I told you, I said, I really, really, when I look at myself, I don't know how I'm a Nigerian. And I continue to ask my dad, are you sure your ancestors are from this place? That is why most of the time I choose to call myself an African. Not because of any reason. For the life of me, I don't know the thinking. I don't know the group of people that I've not seen a group of people that think this way. Oh God. Now let's go into the key aspect of this deal. Let's go into the key details. Let's go into the key detail. Ah, we'll get into the key detail. And this is the beginning of monarchy in Nigeria. Is the most disrespectful form of diplomatic engagement. Is the most disrespectful form of official, carrying out your official duty. This is no longer a battle between Ghana Jollof and Nigeria Jollof. Nigeria is now an eyesore of the entire continent. And when they talk, it's all wishful talking and wishful thinking. We should be producing for the whole continent of Africa. We should be doing this and doing that. They only talk. You don't see action. If you want to see how terrible the situation of Nigeria is from the mental perspective, go and look at most of their celebrities. Go and look at most of them. It's a sorry sight. They cannot protest. Why would they protest? They brought him to power through tribalism, religious, illiteracy. Those people cannot see past 24 hours. Nigerians don't see beyond 24 hours. And they are controlled. They need a messiah that will come and do one thing or the other. These are not people that have the mind of their own. So, aspect of the agreement, let's go into the details. The type of support, provision of military equipment and specialized training for Nigerian forces. Focus, strengthening the fight against terrorism, insurgency, and other security threats across Nigeria. No troops deployment. The agreement does not involve the deployment of French soldiers for combat operations in Nigeria. For combat operation, no. But for training. And, those guys that will be training, they will be inside Nigeria, and they will be special forces, right? Man, we are past that. We are past that past, because that type of lie lives in the past now. So I believe the Andre community is past that past now. For combat operation, but for other operation, they will be in Nigeria. Funding. Nigeria plans to leverage its goodwill and lines of credit, loans, to finance the acquisition. Funding. Nigeria plans to leverage its goodwills and lines of loans to finance the acquisition. This country is in a deep shit. Man, there was a country called Nigeria. This agreement is part of a broader strategy by Tinubu's administration to seek international partnership to address Nigeria's multifaceted security challenges. Look, let me tell you something. Nigerians don't like truth. They don't like it. They were not created the day the truth, was born. They were created on a different day. The truth is that Nigeria don't have multifaceted security challenges. We don't have. We don't have. And when we are talking about Nigerian security personnel, I was very opportune to listen to one of the podcasts that was anchored by Lucky Udu. That's a famous Nigerian blogger that he interviews different people, right? And Nigerians follow him heavily. And he was talking to one of the special forces guys in Nigeria that has so many combat halls and all of that. According to the special forces operator, he said anywhere they enter, just leave them. You will know that something miracle is going to happen. And the boast was, I was like, okay, maybe Nigeria has something. And when he started talking and they asked him a question, that why is it that the Air Force does not get deployed at the same time when you're going for an high intensity combat operation? Why is it that the Air Force don't back you guys up? It was like, you don't need an Air Force. I was like, It was like, yeah, you need the infantries to be on ground because terrorists don't fly in the air, so you don't need an Air Force. At that point, I knew that when you hear all these talks of Nigeria needs help, truly they need help, because most of these guys on the ground, they are not educated at all. Yes, because you need education to know that in a close combat situation, when you are in a defensive position and you are trading shots with your GPMGs, calculus of combat can be easily shifted with good reconnaissance operation and guidance, and negotiating the fire from a place of superior, capability, where the Air Force are engaging and the ground troops are engaging. It's going to be easy. It's going to be Delta Hotel so quick. But he looked at Lucky Udu and he said, yes, yeah. Lucky Udu was like, are you serious? He was like, yes, because you are a civilian. I think I said this yesterday. So this is out in the open. They need. So a lot of Nigerians will come across this information and they will be like, oh, we have troops. No, you have bodies that are confident enough to carry a rifle. The last battle at the Mandara, where an SVEIB ISWAP terrorists ran into their midst and, everywhere blew up, right? And they just backed away from the front line. They had no drone, they had no reconnaissance guidance, they had no eyes on the position of the enemies. They were just shooting blanks. The enemies were so coordinated. The enemy were so good when they discovered the enemies deploying drones for the first time. It became a national disaster. It became a national outcry. Oh, our enemies are already using drones. And so Nigerian troops, normal infantry, they're not trained on drone warfare. They are not trained on it. They don't even have an idea. The best shot is an AK-47. Some of them don't even wear their protective equipment. On the line of engagement, I was shocked when I heard a Nigerian soldier said in a single combat operation, they lost 300 men. 300. So how do you keep up with the attrition rate when you lose 300 men in a single contact? How do you keep up with the attrition rate? Because you have 300 million civilians, where most of those civilians are cowards. So this is where Nigeria is. Let me so according to information, they said they will be addressing the issue, the domestic security crisis. The deal comes amid ongoing security operations against Boko Haram and ISWAP in the northeast, as well as banditry and kidnapping in the northwest and north central region. Recent bomb attack in Maiduguri, which killed over 20 people, underscored the urgency of the situation. According to the information, they said that the French agreement is one part of a wider diplomatic push. President Tinubu also discussed security cooperation and military equipment acquisition during a state visit to United Kingdom, just before the deal with France was announced. So they don't only have a security partnership with France. Now they are looking forward to having a security partnership with France. They have with United Kingdom already. You know, the MICs are ever present in Nigeria. They have with the United States. So whatever that United States deployment in Nigeria is for, you can see that is all kabuki theater. Then France, UK, the US, who else? Who is going to be the next to come into Nigeria? That's $1 billion question that we are not asking. Our troops don't even have mine detecting equipment. They are so under equipped. Apart from being under equipped, you have troops that are selling bullets um to this T guys. Yeah, some of them sell munitions to them. Some of them loan out their guns. We've seen cases on the internet. These things are in the public domain. It's so shameful. So, France has a history of counterterrorism in West Africa, Sahel region, making it a key partner for regional security efforts. So, ladies and gentlemen, there we are. So now, what is the big game here? I'm going to make a prediction right now based on the different pieces that are beginning to, you know, aggregate and accumulate around the puzzle. You have French troops in Ivory Coast. You have French operatives in Ghana. They are special operatives carrying out training of personnel at the Achim Oda military base. They are still there. They are training Ghanaian troops. They are having joint exercises on Galamsey, right? How long they will stay and what their objective are, I don't know. But they've given you the overt objective. They are present in Benin. Are you aware that the Beninese military camp, we've posted it on our Telegram, was overrun by the Katiba and Nifa group? Today, completely devastated everything. Recovered some vehicles. I mean, vehicles that have GPMG mounted capability. They took everything, destroyed some. A whole military base was completely overrun by these guys in Benin, and the French troops are there. So the question is, What's the purpose? When the French troops left Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, they all went to Benin Republic. So they are stationed there. They have a big military base there. Togo, we don't really know the situation on the ground, but I can tell you that there will be some, you know, amount of French troops in Togo. They might be there on, diplomatic bases or in a very few number, but there are French troops in Togo. This means that there will be French operators in Nigeria. There is a recent push. There was this French diplomat that traveled to Central African Republic. They're trying to reestablish their footing in the Central African Republic. So, they had their meeting in Bangai. Um, there is a push for a bilateral cooperation with Chad. French forces are in Mauritania. They have good relationship with Senegal. How are you sure that there are no French troops in Togo? How? Hold on. I'm going to fact. Hold on. So I'm going to be giving you whatever the information. Okay. Now let me give you the information. There are no French troops stationed in Togo. However, France is actively involved in Togo's security through partnership focused on training and equipment rather than troop deployment. Now, like I just said about Nigeria the other time, right? I said, now they said no permanent French troops in Togo, but are there temporary guys there? Are there guys that train? Look at that breakdown properly. They said, however, France is actively involved in Togo's security through partnership focused on training and equipment. So those guys that are carrying out the training, um, I don't know French soldiers. And type of support: counter improvised explosive device, and operational tactics and equipment, detector, generators, and protective gears. And let's talk about Togo a little bit more. The defense project was funded by the European Union, included in February 2026. So we should not be deceived at this point again. You have to look beyond narratives now. You have to look beyond headlines now. You have to look beyond the headline. The headlines are not to provoke you. No, headlines are not meant to provoke you. If you get provoked, then the purpose of whatever is defeated. They want to make you comfortable. So, when you look at everything across boards, that's a U shape. That's a U shape for you. So the question is, who is in between the U shape? Who is in between? When you calculate from Chad to Central African Republic to Cameroon, you definitely know what's up with Cameroon, right? To Nigeria, to Benin, to Togo, to Ghana, to Cote d'Ivoire, to Senegal, to Mauritania, to upstream, right? Man. And when people, you see, let me just give a little bit of game again. When you hear anything about deployment, right? You don't need you don't need 10,000 soldiers. You don't need 1,000 soldiers to be effective. You can have 20 guys that have sophisticated engineering skill when it comes to military, and they are monitoring. Their job is just reconnaissance, intelligence. 20 officers can recruit 2,000 assets on the ground to carry out whatever. So a lot of guys don't understand that when they talk about troop deployment, they don't need, when they tell you they are not deploying troops, right? That means they are not putting boots, like boots, yeah. But they have operatives. When the Iranians started hitting the embassies in, is it UAE or Qatar, they discovered that one of the embassy was where the CIA office was. The headquarters of CIA in that region, that was where it was. So a lot of people, you just look at things on the periphery. But I want us to have deep thinking. Things just don't just happen by mistake. Nigeria called on the US. The US deployments are in Nigeria. And within a couple, now the US deployments, you know, 100 boots plus 200 boots, making 300. They're in Nigeria. There's a bigger base in Ghana. So, so man, I it's so unfortunate at this point. You know, Africa is supposed to unite, okay? But what we have is no unity. What we have is this is 2026, and I expect a lot of people to be educated. I expect a lot of people to be very, very conscious right now. I expect a lot of people to be focused. Africa should be taking initiative from some of the geopolitical events happening all around the world. But what we're seeing is the opposite. Yeah, so that's the information. So if you compare this to what is going on in the Middle East, you can see that there was a gradual encirclement of Iran, the different nation that's colluded. And if you look at the narrative from some of these African leaders, they will tell you the insecurity crisis in their country um, happened based on what is going on in the Sahel. If you look at that narrative, right? So if you look at everything and you compare it to the situation in the Middle East, it looks like the same thing. But are they good enough to prevail? I don't think so. I'm not scared. I'm not scared because I have seen capabilities. I've seen levels. I've seen casualty ratios. I've seen improvement. I've seen adaptations. I've seen bilateral partnerships with who. I can tell you that everywhere is data hotel in the Alliance of Sahel. I will just give you something so that you take that home. I am only disappointed in this deal, how the deal was made, how the announcement was further made in a private apartment of a man who has no credibility to even be in the position he's occupying in the first place. But he's only there because you have a lot of gullible people that choose to follow the playbook of tribalism and religious extremism. If people can vote for the president of a country, not out of competence, but out of Muslim tickets, those are extremists. Those are not normal people. Those are not normal thinking people. Now there is global energy crisis. Nigeria generates majority of its fuel, of its energy through hydroelectric. They intentionally made sure that electrical supply, like power supply, is not sufficient right now. They see Nigeria is not a real place. Honestly, it's not a real place. So what we have right now, Dangote, Dangote is out for his money. Like I said earlier, I said Dangote was never out there to support the progress of Nigerians. He's a businessman, he's a capitalist. He buys crude oil in dollars, in petrodollar. So Tinubu removed all the subsidy, probably put everything in his pocket, you know. So what I would say is this, right? An engagement with the Sahel is impossible. Whatever gathering anybody is making is impossible. Nobody in West Africa, no bloc in West Africa is as strong as the Sahelian bloc. No bloc in West Africa. I've said it on all the shows I've gone for. No bloc is as strong as the Sahelian bloc in West Africa. No, no, I have not seen that place. I mean, among the black populace, you're not only talking about capabilities and technology and how advanced these guys are. We're talking about the mental fortitude. No block. And Nigerians live in a bubble, believing they are the giant of Africa. So when they play football, most of the time, they don't win the Nations Cup. They get beat all the time. They get beat. I think the last time, Ghana, like, look at most of the competitions that Nigeria go for in sports, in anything. They're always disappointing because and do you know why Nigerians are always disappointed with their position? Because they overrate themselves because of population. Because one person that has no job saw another person that has no job, they met with themselves and they produce about 7 kids, does not make you a superpower. It does not make you a powerful country. I have seen Nigeria completely. You see this population thing they're talking about, it doesn't exist. Some of the people that give birth to kids the most in Nigeria are man. If you look at, like, I have people around that they have almost like, okay, let me explain like this. A single mother, right? No father for the but I have like 7 different babies for 7 different men. So when you now talk, the whole 7, they are Nigerians, right? And they are part of that superpower calculation. They are not in school. And the unfortunate side of the story is that those Nigerians that are opportune to send their kids to school, they would think they are living a good life, but they won't understand that they are working on a very heavily loaded gunpowder, filled jerry can. Because you see those kids of those terrible ones. Unfortunately, we notice that most of the time they're the ones that we end up kidnapping the kids of the ones that are so-called elite today in future and collect ransom. So when you hear, right, when you hear this whole conversation about this talk of Nigeria is 300 million people, I can guarantee you where I stand that 100 million of that 300 million economically they are non-existent. Like, they don't drive any value into Nigeria. Unfortunately, I've been in the field. I've served in at every strata of the Nigerian state. I've served for state governments, I've served for federal government, I've served at the local government level. I have worked for the Nigerian states. and I can guarantee you I've met some Nigerians on the field that will make me ask myself sometimes, why are these people here? Like, how did these people get here? Which school did they attend? How are we working on the lives of patients together? Where is the credibility? No, they didn't. The only reason they got there was because a politician called somebody and said, "This is my candidate." So that's why I say the fibers of this country is in shambles. So the future, this is what you get. So Tinubu is like the icing on the cake. It's a country that have been decaying for a long time from inside. But probably because they had good luck Jonathan, because they had Okonjo Iweala, because they had competent people. So that decay was minimal. It was minimized. Like they were trying to make sure that they just, block everything so that the whole place will not be a mess. But right now, they can't dock, they can't, Nigeria cannot afford, they cannot escape it. So Nigeria should prepare for a heavier decay. That will be in the year 2027 because Tinubu will emerge as the president. Look at the number of Western countries involved in Nigeria right now. And Tinubu is giving them that free. Oh my goodness. He's giving them, look, this guy in his own mind is playing politics. They call him a master strategist. To the buffoons that are within the country, they call him a master strategist, right? Now, look at how he's bringing them in. Through phone calls, like Romania, just call Nigeria, just call it. You are one call away from coming to Nigeria. Just make a call. Look, I need lithium. It's through phone call now. That's the level Nigeria is right now. They don't need to send envoy or whatever. Just put a call across. And you think if this guy in a democratic election, you think the result will not favor him, regardless of what happens? And everybody has to dream again. Now, I will tell you this again. It will make so much concession to the point that if he says he wants to be the president of Nigeria for an infinite amount of time, they will back him up. Let me give you one last. No, Nigeria is not captured. Let me give you one last revelation before I go. There was a shift in Nigeria. This is worse than Patrice Talon. Patrice Talon is a learner here. There, it's not gone in for 2032. For as long as he wants to be there, will be there. You see, I heard that the grandmother of Alaja Mogaji, his relatives, according to the information, they said these were the same ancestry that sold a lot of Yoruba people in Badagry to the slave traders. I was shocked when I heard it. I'm going to look for the video and I'm going to bring it out here on Telegram, or I'm going to get it on TikTok. I'm going to bring it out here. The man said it, and the man said, yeah, you can come after me, you can do this, I'm already old and all of that. But this was what happened. I was shocked. So when I'm seeing all these things that are going on, I'm not surprised. Because the fruits don't fall far from the tree. Okay? The fruit don't fall far from the tree. Um, you know, this is going to be very, very bad for Nigerians. They have not seen anything. Nigerians are about to see something different. That is why I'm trying to leave Nigeria. for another African country. I will ask my dad again if we are truly from here, because I am one Nigerian in the midst of how many Nigerians? We don't think alike. We don't. Yeah, I probably will come to Burkina Faso. We don't think alike. We don't think alike. We don't think alike. I cannot exist in the midst of people that think this way. Look, and I'm telling you, you will see so many videos of internet of Nigerians criticizing. You will see them criticizing. Oh, this government, they are saying it not because they understand from a strategic standpoint what is at stake. No, that's not who they are. The condition is very, very terrible. That's why those people cannot maintain growth and development for a long stretch. No, they can't do it. You see a Nigerian critic today, give him a car, he's done. A critic of this regime, give him a car, he's done. Zero integrity all along. Give them money. So, like I said, I've said it earlier. I said if Ibrahim Traore was a Nigerian, you know what would have happened. Even if they split Nigeria today, it will still be the same thing. It will still be the same thing. Let me tell you something. Is Tinubu not a Yoruba? The northern politicians are even worse. Yes, they are in fact, they are extremely worst. Together with they weaponize poverty in their region so that the population would not be able to challenge their hegemony. Then in the south, you have politicians like Wiki, you have politicians like Soludo. These are some of the man, I don't know what I can call those guys, but at the end of the day, Nigeria should brace up for impact, because it won't get any easier from this moment going forward. To be honest with you, like I said, I cannot do myself a very huge I won't handicap myself by having kids in this country. No. I would rather go to a country that is not developed at all. I have lived in any terrain. Like I am this kind of person that you can have me in the worst part of what country can I talk about? Look, take me to any country. I can live and survive anywhere. I am not look, we are not speaking for paradise. We are speaking for vision. We're speaking for a 100 years vision. We are not speaking for, oh, it's good today. The price of fuel has dropped. Food is cheap. And you are forgetting about all your problem. I can live in Sudan. When my parents give birth to me, we had communal conflict that lasted for 7 good years. I was running with my younger sister, holding her hand and running. Like it was total destruction. This was the environment I grew up in. So I became street smart. I became security conscious. You see, my next nature is being security conscious. I told you on one of my live stream that when I open my door, I'm like, once I get out of my apartment, everywhere I'm going to, I'm always ready. Even if it's the most peaceful place, I am always at alert. You can't catch me unawares. I have not been able to detach myself from that mentality. That's why when I hear some things, I just be like, you're not serious, right? So you take me to the worst environment, I will thrive there. So, and if you look at Nigerians, they are living on this false definition of peace. Is extravasating from the north. And what they don't understand, The population of the north is much. So a lot of them are getting wiped out. When they get to the south, it's going to be much worse. I don't see strategic thinking. I don't see anything. I don't see anything. They want to go and vote. They will be going like both. When you know that the opposition is planning to sabotage your efforts to vote right, how do you do it? I looked at the last election, they were saying, when you are going to the voting, this thing, do this. I was like, you guys are not smart. You've not, you, you are not. It's supposed to be banned for, like, come on now. Don't, I won't even, I won't even go there. I will be an opposition of Tinubu in a political, landscape. Like, he will know that this is a serious match here. we well, look, you I'm a chess player. Like, if you go through the violence route, you are going to meet me there. Like, whatever you are going, like, you have in plan, you will definitely meet a formidable match waiting for you. But another big problem of Nigerians is that they are looking for money. They are looking for a politicians that will spend his way to power. And that is where you get a leader who makes key decision on a phone call. Yes, this is how you get them. Leaders who make key decisions on phone. So, to be honest with you, I will be very, very happy. I don't know how to secure an apartment in Burkina Faso. If I can do it, I will do it straight away. If I can secure a place in Burkina Faso for me right now, I will do it. Probably I will try very soon. I cannot wait for Tinubu to be the next president of Nigeria. It will be a disaster. It's already a disaster. Look, if Tinubu becomes the next president of Nigeria, it will be ugly. So I am not going to be one of those that will wait. I'm in my productive years. Like, if you are a Nigerian, you are a youth right now, you are wasting. The last 4 years is already a waste. In fact, it's beyond waste. You are about to put aim. Do you know he wanted to change the presidential term at some point from 4 years to 5 years? This guy is thinking monarchical. He's not thinking as we will see. We will see. As long as we have an English speaking community in Burkina Faso, yeah, I'm good. I'm ready to move. Nigeria is not a place that anybody should stay for too long. It's it's not about the danger of Nigeria. Insecurity has been here for how long? I still traveled some weeks ago. Like, um okay. You can chat on Telegram. You can chat me on Telegram. I will do something. My name is Kolawole too. My name is Kolawole too. So we can chat on Telegram. So I still traveled, right? My mind is different from I have a very, very tough mindset. Okay, so insecurity has been here for so long, and we are here. We are not ready to run. Like me, I'm the last person that will run from trouble. But the unfortunate part of this thing is that we are living this country not because of the insecurity situation, not because of the economic situation. Look, I can live in a country where the economy is so worst. If I'm in Cuba, right? Do you know what I will be trying to do? Boy, let's just survive another day. If you have my mindset, no type of colonial bombardment can break you. I'm telling you. You just have to understand the truth and be on the same page with the revolutionaries and be like, okay, now you want to play with us? We are going to play. If you see water, we will drink it to survive. Whatever way, we will bypass whatever blockade you are trying to install. Be smart. If they try to get you, make sure you survive. Look, there are several ways to this thing. I said they gave birth, my parents gave birth to me in in a war situation. I grew up with my sister running with me. and my elder brother. I had women that left their kids and ran when the tension got hot. Then we responded. So I've been used to all the look at my channel is like a combat analysis channel, right? This is how I operate mentally. So I can live in any country. But the reason why we are living Nigeria is look at the future. There is nothing. There is nothing. Look, the situation can be bad for 10 years. It's fine. I look, I am born with this. I am with this mindset of no matter where I am now, everything can go south suddenly. And I still remind myself I have to be able to go through that. See, I am planning for every unexpected situation every day. When I saw the Iranians protesting, I was like, who are those people? You say you are ready for revolution and you are protesting because your economy was somehow, weaponized to go down, and you don't, once you get the game, stay on business. Like, if, like, let's say I'm in Niger now, and let's say you put all the sanctions on the world on us, you are not gonna get you. I'm trying to think about what you can possibly do to break people that have my kind of mindset. You will try. You will try so much. You That's why when I see the protests from the people of Niger, these are people that understand. They are not at the same economic level with Nigeria. They are not. But look at their understanding. Look at their thinking. Somebody will hand money into your hands. Go to bed and sleep. No thinking, nothing, nothing. Look, that's why I said, in a confrontation, Africa will realize that there are some people with strong will and a different mindset in the Sahel. There's a reason why the revolution started there. This modern revolution we are seeing, forget any other, it started in the Sahel. The real one started in the Sahel. President Abdurrahman Chiani is in a transition, right? It's in a transition, but they are still trying to blame him. They are still trying to call him a junta. The reason is simple. He is not signing any agreement with them. When they are praising you, you are a bad leader. Look at Ruto. He's the best friend of the West. Look at Tinubu. Even if he's the worst president on the planet, they will call him the best because they can agree deals, right? They can agree deals on phone. How disrespectful is that? I've never heard that anybody made a bilateral cooperation with the Sahel on phone. Can you have some honor? But you know why I'm not perturbed? Because if you understand the Nigerian mindset, we need to understand this thing. Where a pastor goes into the church and say you will receive miracle money this week. What do you mean by you will receive miracle money? What type of message are you spreading to the mind of the youth that should understand that to build a functional economy, you have to improve your research, you have to work hard. You will receive miracle money, and you will see some people come out and say that I got a miracle alert. Are you punking in 2026? I'm tired. I'm tired. That is why you have most of their celebrities on TikTok begging for money, because they believe that and it is the ripple effect that it will have on the coming generation. Man, I bid you all farewell at this point. When I saw this news, I was very, very disappointed. I wanted to talk about the plan before now was to talk about the recent mobilization in Chad. Chad is preparing for something that looks like an offensive, against the guys that have been manaf- against the guys that have been trying to infiltrate their territory. Chad is ready for some smokes right now. I wanted to talk about the situation in Niger on the counter-terrorism front, and there was a big military counter-offensive in Burkina Faso today. The jihadists were trying to launch an ambush, but it failed very, very badly because they were dealing with some battle-tested, tough-headed human beings. A lot of enemy KIA in the process. But this whole Nigerian conversation have actually got me exhausted. I probably believe I'll fall sick today because this is what happens to me anytime I talk about this country. You know, I really want to appreciate everyone for coming. I really want to say thank you for your support. We move. We move. Tomorrow, I wanted to fix the electricity today, but my banks, they were asking me a lot of questions. Okay, they were asking me what's what where the where did I get money from, um what is the purpose of the money, who is the sender, too many questions. It is because of the economic situation of Nigeria. So if you earn that type of money, they will question you. If you convert dollars to naira, it's something is something unbelievable. So tomorrow, I believe after filling up their questions and all of that, they will let me be. So I'm going to be adding more capabilities to our streams, to our video. I have some things I'm going to buy to make sure that you know um our work can go smoothly and we can communicate lightly. I'm gonna do an unboxing when I do everything so that the Android community can see, because I really, really have to say thank you to you all. You all have stood on business. You all have supported. You know, if you are on the Android community right now, just know you are one of the ones. Um, we've been shadowed for quite a while because what we speak is going to be the fire that light up the mind of Africans. People like us are not supposed to be speaking by plan. We are not supposed to be talking. So if I get to a country where people are ready to progress, I'm telling you, I'm one of those ones that you don't see around every time, that's ready to spark the inspiration that will change an entire country. This is my mission. I have some natural attributes in me. When I speak to you one on one, it's a different me entirely. And this is not me online. This is me offline. This is me every day, every time, every moment. So I know I have a bigger purpose than just to be in some country and be getting some paychecks. So please let us continue to spread the message of truth to our African families here and in diaspora. And I want to appreciate you all for your support. Your support have been able to guarantee that we don't need too much bilateral cooperation. The fact that for the first time in the history of Africa, we have the our brothers in diaspora supporting us. I don't think there have been any type of bilateral cooperation that goes beyond that. You know, I did not know that Africans were that much on the planet. I did not know people of our race were that much on the planet. I did not know that for any reason, Africans can start together with one cause, right? On the planet. And look at a lot of our African people that now I'm very proud now when I see people see information, and I'm even seeing Nigerians now questioning a lot of things they don't do before. So I really, really want to say thank you to you all for your role at this point in time. History will remember you. You've done a great thing in your life. Like see, whatever you've been doing in this lifetime of our lifetime, this is the best you've ever done. This is the best you've ever done. So thank you. and God bless you.